Hi friends, welcome back. So we're getting ready to enter the new year, and with the new year comes a lot of exciting new things like new goals and plans and ideas. So I thought that it would be fun for me to sit down and kind of share with you guys some of my goals and plans for my plants in the new year. So I have kind of two separate categories of this video. I have my 2023 plant wish list, so all the plants that I hope to acquire in 2023. And I also have just a set of goals that I hope that I can meet in this next upcoming year for my plants. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'll insert a picture right here of all the plants I'm talking about. The first plant I would like to get in 2023 is an Anthurium platiforum. I think this plant is really beautiful, and I've heard good things about how easy the care is, and I've really been wanting to get into taking care of some of the more rare Anthuriums. So that's just one plant that I think would be really interesting to add to my collection. Kind of going along with the same category of Anthurium, I don't know if I can pronounce this name right or not. I'm going to try to. It's the Anthurium waroquinum. I think Anthurium waroquinum. But I also just really like how this plant looks. I think the veining is really cool. And it's just another one of those Anthuriums that I've heard is a good beginner Anthurium, so I would really like to give it a go. The next plant on my wish list is the variegated jade plant. And I had no idea this plant existed for the longest time. I've seen a lot of jade plants. They're a pretty common plant, but I haven't seen a variegated version like at plant shops or anything like that. And the first time I saw one, and the only time since, has been when Wade and I went to Michigan for our honeymoon. We stayed at this Airbnb, and the lady there had this huge variegated jade plant, and it was the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. So I would just really love to have even just like a small one of those, just so I could grow it to be as big and as beautiful as hers was. And I would love to have that plant as just kind of a reminder of our honeymoon and how much of a fun time it was. So hopefully I will be able to get one of those sometime throughout this next year. Another type of plant that I would like, I don't have a specific variety in mind, but I really want to try out a couple I don't know if I can say this right either. Pinwicula, I think that's how you say it. But they're kind of like, what are they called? Carnivorous plants, and they're all so beautiful, and I've heard kind of different things about the care for them. I know they're not the easiest plant, but I think that if I could maybe put them into a terrarium or something like that where I can kind of control the environment a bit more, that they would do really well, and it would be really cool to have a plant like that. There's this one plant YouTuber I watch who's called Jas.plants. I think that's his YouTube channel. He has a lot of them, and he takes really good care of them, so I would love to be able to do something like that one day, so hopefully I'll get the chance to. The next plant on my wish list is one that's a little bit funny. I love the plant for how it looks. It's a very pretty plant, but the thing that drew me most to the plant was its name. It is the Philodendron caramel marble. And if any of my coworkers from Impressed are watching this, they already understand why I want this plant. But for those of you who drink coffee, you know that you can get a lot of times, a lot of stores sell a caramel macchiato and a marble macchiato. So when I saw the name of that plant, I just thought that it was really funny because it just reminded me of different drinks that we make. And it's a really beautiful plant itself too, which is really cool. I think the leaves come in this really cool, like I don't want to say golden, but like a bronzy type color almost, or kind of orange bronze color. And then it over time fades into a nice rich green color, which I think is just really cool. So I've seen those plants for sale on Etsy, but they're a bit pricey. So if I do end up getting one, it won't be for a while anyway, because I would want to save up and make sure that I can, one, afford the plant, but two, also know about the care for the plant so that I don't just buy it and not know how to take care of it. The next plant on my wish list for 2023 is a variegated heartleaf philodendron. For those of you who don't know, I absolutely love heartleaf philodendron. I have two of them in my home right now, one really big one and then one smaller one. And I just love them because they're so easy care and they're so beautiful. So I can imagine the variegated one would be about the same as far as how you take care of it. It would probably need a bit more light and probably grow a bit slower because variegated plants tend to grow a little bit slower, but I would be absolutely fine with that. I just think that it would be really cool to have like a cool trailing basket of variegated heartleaf philodendron. And the last plant on my wish list is not an individual plant, but it's begonia as a whole. I really just haven't had much experience with begonias. I had one begonia before. Actually, I've had a couple before, but my most recent one I got as a cutting and it did well for a while. But once I tried to take it out of my little humidity terrarium type thing, it just didn't do well and it didn't seem to bounce back from the lack of humidity and it ended up not making it. But I would really like to try some out. Specifically, the Begonia Amphioxus. I think that plant is really beautiful. One of my other favorite YouTubers, Wild Fern, has one, and she's always talking about how easy it is to grow and how fast it grows. So I think that that would be a good one for me to try out. Okay, so moving on to my plant goals for 2023. The first one I want to talk about is that I just kind of want to shrink my collection a little bit. I did get rid of quite a few plants before the move, but for those of you who don't know, Wade and I plan to open up a coffee truck within probably a year and a half, hopefully. And with that, we'll be moving into a mobile trailer / RV. And in that case, I really won't have a lot of room for plants. So I just want to really start focusing on only bringing in plants that I know I will enjoy, and if I fall out of love with a plant, not feeling guilty about it and being able to rehome that plant. I also want to not be in the mindset of just collecting plants just to collect plants. Obviously, it's not good for you financially. It's not good to just rely on buying anything such as plants. And it's also just not going to be very practical for us for when we do live in the mobile trailer. So I want to start now really kind of condensing my collection to the plants that I really enjoy the most. And along with that comes my goal to stop impulse buying plants. So I'm going to start trying, I've been trying, but I'm going to push a little harder to refrain from just going to Lowe's or the garden center or wherever to just browse plants, because it's never just browsing plants. And so I know that if I go with the intention of just looking, I typically end up getting something. So I'm going to start trying to not do that so much. Of course, it's still perfectly fine to buy plants every now and then, but I just want to be a little more particular and a little more careful about what I'm bringing into my home, just so I don't have as many plants to deal with later on. On a similar note, this upcoming year, I'm going to start being a little more easy on myself when it comes to plant care. And I'm going to start allowing myself to maybe sell or trade or just get rid of plants that either don't bring me joy or are just really stressful for me. So really high maintenance houseplants that I find bring me more stress than they do joy. I just don't see the need to have those kind of plants around anymore. If it's a plant that I really enjoy to the point that I don't mind it being high maintenance, then that's different. But if I'm just holding on to a plant because I've spent the money on it and it's not really bringing me any happiness, then I'm going to try to find a way to give it a new home. Another goal I have for myself this upcoming year is to put more of my plants on moss poles and trellises. I have a lot of philodendrons and other aroids in my collection, and they tend to do really well when they're given a moss pole or something to grow up, because that's how they grow in their environment. So I actually have never made a moss pole before, but my next video that you guys should be seeing next week is going to be me making my first moss pole. So hopefully that goes well. I really want to start getting some of my plants on moss poles because it's good for it's good to help them mature. And as far as like Hoyas, they really like having trellises. So I want to put more emphasis on taking care of the plants that I have, as opposed to, as I said earlier, just buying more plants. I want to be able to grow the plants that I have to be as healthy and as happy as they can. And the last goal I have for myself is to just make more terrariums. The past couple months I've been really getting into terrariums, and it's been something that I really enjoy, and I find that it's a fun way of decorating my houseplants without having to buy new plants. It's a good way to kind of revive a group of plants that you have that maybe you're not super in love with, but you can find that if you put them in a terrarium or just redecorate them in some way, it can really make you fall in love with them again. So that's kind of why I've been wanting to try out begonias and the pinguiculas, because I hear those are good terrarium plants. So I hope to get some of those so that I can make some more terrariums with the moss that I have. Because the ones I have are doing really well, and I've just really been enjoying it, so I want to keep doing that. Alright guys, so those are all my goals / wish list plans for the year 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please share below some of your biggest goals for your plant collection for this upcoming year. I hope you guys are going to have a great new year, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!